And mage to all, and you say, what? What's he saying mage for? Okay, take the letters. M-A-G-E. Morning, afternoon, good evening. Where every day is a magical day. Anyway, so here's some fun facts about the United States. Just one right off the hop here. The United States Space Command was actually created in 1985. Ooh, what have they been doing all this time in space? Hmm. All right. And now you have President Bush or Trump. Bush. Jeez, what year are you in? Um, but anyway, yeah. So has done another push towards putting money into it, and let's just hope here this doesn't begin a militarization of space, because all we need is a couple battles above the planet with a bunch of junk floating around, and then we're doomed. Okay? Yeah, I mean, if you put enough small particles in orbit that we can't get a rocket off the ground anymore and go to the moon even, okay, let alone Mars or anywhere else, I mean, you might as well have just dropped all the nukes on the planet, right? Like, that's something for everyone to remember, right? Don't be this. Don't start off being the police force of the universe, okay? We don't need that any more of that, okay? I think the rest of the planet is at the stage of, look, America, you know, it, we've had this long a peace. We'd like to keep it going, you know? Anyway. Not that Trump listens to me or anything. Bush did, though. Yeah. I had his attention there at one point. Yepper. Doesn't take much, does it? Anyway, some people are listening though, because some things that I say here and there, um, suddenly somebody does something about it. So I'm gonna have to start being a little more careful about what I say, because I think somebody's listening. No doubt, eh? Anyway, nice little picture, some rockets, and nice little article on you know, uh, what they did and what they're, the idea of it is splitting it off from the Air Force to give it its own mandate, which, it kind of makes sense, because an Air Force is in what? It's in the air. you know, it's not a space thing. Let them focus on the air, right, of a celestial body, okay? And then let the space people focus on space technologies. It makes a little bit of sense, right? Okay? Because what you're going to do is you have more and more nations slowly getting into space, okay? And I'm going to say it, okay? You start up like the United States is teetering on a recession now. Think about the amounts of money that will be required in a capitalist society, okay, to continue this. All right? This is vast, okay? To make one little spaceship that goes to Mars properly is massive money, okay? And Elon Musk, top to you. You're doing the right thing. I like even the idea of that global internet thing you're doing, but let's just hope that some of this doesn't end up being space junk one day either. Have a way of it collecting. I read up how they were saying that they got systems, redundant systems for that as well, so that he's not going to be the space junk man, you know. And it should bring down the cost of internet for people. Blah 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 blah. Some better internet, more coverage around the world. Blah 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 blah. Another little bits of news. It came out as a fact that one of the leading proponents of the Hong Kong protest movement is a business leader who has ties to not only the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI, but guys like John Bolton, uh, uh, etc., and Pompeo and all those guys, and he was just given something like 75 grand by one of those two guys. I forget which one. And it's like I said, there's if if the reason for your protest is already gone, and you're on national television telling people that's the reason you're protesting, I think there's something wrong here. Yeah. It's the CIA trying to mess around in Hong Kong because Hong Kong is now only worth 2% of China's economy. Okay? Basically what China did was left them alone and developed their own economy to the point where they went right by them and didn't include them because Hong Kong wanted to do its own thing. Well, this is the repercussions. They still own your territory. It's like Crimea in over in Ukraine. It used to belong to Russia. Okay? And all these people that were crying about it, most of the people there are Russian. And they voted to go back to Russia. Get over it. Okay? And what that was all about, I was sitting in my doctor's office and he has these Maclean's articles that sit there. And it was in 2011 or 12 or something. So this is like 7 or 8 years ago. And it was talking about how Russia was upset because the United States wanted to put missiles in Eastern Europe. And Russia said that's too close to its border, and it didn't want them doing that. And so this whole thing has been leading up to that. So they've engineered all these issues in there, and they destabilized that government, and now it's trying to get back to where it used to be, and it's still having some problems, right? And even the eastern parts of Ukraine are sort of more Russian peoples, right? But that would be like having a minority in any country, right? And to those Russians, I would say, listen, you're going to have to learn to deal with the fact that you're a minority. Either you're going to have to leave, right, or not, okay? At least they're not trying to pull a Nazi on you and put you in little ovens, right? I shouldn't use that N-word. YouTube doesn't like it, but, that's the facts, okay? Right? Although there is fighting going on, it's, that's between two sides that are vested interest in making money. It's a small group that starts these kinds of things, while the majority of people who may not like each other wouldn't exactly pick up a pitchfork and start hitting each other with it. You know what I mean? They just don't like each other. Different points of view, different upbringings, different cultures, all that. This is why I say, diversity only and inclusion only works if both sides can actually get along. If they can't, you shouldn't be forcing it because it only leads to problems, and it will continue to lead to problems, and it will cost more money than it will create. Okay? And there were some more examples the other day about this diversity thing and stuff like that. And when I saw that one guy talking about Miley Cyrus, I went, and he showed a web page how they were saying that heterosexuality has failed. I went, oh my lord. What do you say to that, man? That is just the most crazy, stupid thing to say ever. Ever. I'm not even going to bring the article up because I don't think, you see, I'm of that opinion that if it's that crazy, real normal people are not reading it. Okay? If they're getting if they're getting traffic, it's from crazy people. Okay? Let the FBI, CIA, and NSA track those people and make sure that they're all kept away from handguns and other sharp objects while the rest of us carry on in life, okay? Anyway, I got one more month of this tough times thing, and then I should be back to getting it. I'm going to get a graphics card by Christmas, and that's when all the fun will begin. Thank you for sticking around, guys, and having patience, for what I have planned. I got a whole bunch of things that I want to do that's really cool, and I got about 7 projects that I want to try and do, and I will get to them all. Of course, I'm one guy, right? One of these days, like, I have the ability here to run a website and services and etc. and do a chat, and I can even host my videos here and everything else, but I only got a 10 megabit upload, right? Now the CRTC in Canada just did a thing where retroactively they have to pay back my internet provider and others because they were overcharging, and they've set the rates backwards. The last time that happened, my internet provider actually lowered my rate. Wow, eh? And then they gave me 1510 internet and a modem to go with it, brand new, as long as I have the account. So, you know, that's what you get for being a loyal tech-savvy user. And it's one of those companies where, you know, you can actually go to a website and talk to the guy that runs the company, okay? And there's other people there that are really good. You know, one of them, I would assume saved my life because, you know, I go into that story. But anyway, that was a few years ago. But anyhow, that's the kind of company they are, you know. And you stick by people that are good to you. And there's always reasons to be nice to people because you never know who that person is that you're being nice to. They could have just been having a hard time, and you know, you give them a coffee or, you know, a little bit of money for some food or whatever. You never know, you know. If you can afford it, don't hurt yourself to help someone else. You have to look after you first. That's one thing I always got to say to people. And you got to have patience. Okay, it's a lot harder nowadays to get somewhere in YouTube than it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. If I had started in 2000, like I was on YouTube in 2008. If I had just started right off the hop doing gaming, okay, I'd probably be one of the biggest gamers, or not. I might have been deplatformed by now. Who knows, you know? Because I got a little bit of commentary here about silly things I see as I'm tripping around the internet, you know? And I say it how it is, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would think the same way I do, you know? There's just a lot of stupid stuff out there that people do, and once you add money to it, you know. And every time we turn around, it's another wacko from Hollywood that's you know, acting up. So I gotta wonder how long are we gonna keep giving these people all this money, and it's just gonna it'll go away for a little while, and then they'll start back up their sick stuff again and whatnot, right? When are we gonna really start looking after the children and start putting the screws to Hollywood? You know, like I never used to want to have any government intervention in that, but it should. You know, they're the ones making the laws for them. You know, and to give you an idea about Canada, okay, the last time a liberal leader, okay, he was a leader in their house. He ran for a seat in Toronto, and a 2-second clip of Tragically Hip was seen of him shaking their hands. He lost the election after that. Okay? Yeah. Okay, and here's the CBC doing a whole thing on the Tragically Hip and how the guy had cancer and all this other stuff. The guy's a big shill for Hollywood, and all he wants is to sit around all day and do nothing, you know, make 2 albums and sit around doing nothing for the rest of their life. You know, if that was the case for doors, every time you walk through a door I got a nickel, I'd be a billionaire by now, you know? Let's have door rights. Let's have car rights. Let's have every single person who makes a product. Let's make it like a copyright thing where every time someone uses it, you got to pay someone. You know, society would crumble. It couldn't afford it. We'd be walking around with wheelbarrows full of nickels. You couldn't even lift that wheelbarrow, man. Anyway, whatever, you know. And this puts you at a little bit of odds with some people that are so-called artists. And this is where you can out them, okay? All right? Ask them how they view copyright, okay? And if they say that they're fine with the way it is right now, don't deal with them because they're not an artist. They're a production factory. They're lawyers, okay? All right, that's the difference. An artist doesn't care about money. Okay, money's the next thing after. Okay, that's the truth. Okay, an artist makes things, and he'll do it regardless because he enjoys it. Okay, it's like therapy to his brain. Okay, I like programming and I like that 3D stuff and I like playing games and I like doing this and that, but I also like to know how they're made. I like That's just the way I am with everything. You know, I would sit there looking at a radio going, how does that work? And I'd take it apart and then put it back together, and if it worked, I'd do okay. Now, what is this part? And I figure out find out what that does and what this does and what that does. And then you're thinking, well, I could do this, this, and this with that, right? And this is how people invent, okay? On top of the inventions. But the problem today is the terms and patents are so long. If I invent something, I got to pay this guy just to be able to invent off of it. So I don't bother with it, okay? Like, think about it. A game from 1977 called Basic Edition Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, that's 2343. Or no, let's see, that's 27. Let's see, 23. We're coming up on 43 years. Okay, you know, and they still make money from selling it and whatnot. Anyway, like Star Trek technically is public domain right now until they sign the uh, what do you call it, the new trade agreement, and then they get till 2043. Yeah, 2043. They get another 23 years. So I'll be dead by then. So, and this is why I'm trying to tell you right now. Society now, as far as I'm concerned, sees absolutely no benefit from copyright. If entire generations don't see that benefit, why are we paying for it? You copyright people really better start thinking about that, because what's going to happen eventually is you're going to be asking for too much, and people will just go and will be sick and tired of your sick behavior. Okay. And the fact is, look at the social justice warrior crap you're doing. I mean, it's awful. Putting today's politics into stuff. It's like it's kind of like what Gene Roddenberry started out doing with Star Trek, okay? But on a far, far, far more insidious, evil little plan, okay? He had fun with it rather than, making it forced, right? And get back to some of the canon, for Christ's sake. There used to be a person in each of these movies and TV called a continuity person. I forget what it was, like a manager or something like that. But their whole job was to let people know in the writing or in directing or any scene where the continuity would be messed with. What happened to that position? They just eliminate it and just say, let's just do this, let's just do that. We can do whatever we want, and if they want stuff, well, here's the kicker. Unreal Engine. Okay? Better look at it. Because we the people, okay, can start using that for nothing. And we get around a few technical people and we get small groups, we can make our own bloody entertainment. Okay? I'm almost at the point now where I can just start animating small little short movies and different things like that, and just with the free stuff that I get off of the internet. Okay? And then I just create some of my own models and different stuff, and then I added right to it, didn't I? I can have fun. I can do my own thing. I can make my own stories. I don't need Hollywood to be doing this, and I don't have to worry about money either, because I'm eliminating all these costs that they have. I eliminate their union. I eliminate their need for paying people to make stuff. I can, and I eliminate all these other jobs. Go look at a game. Go watch the end of Diablo 3 for at the very end and solve the game, and watch for 25 minutes as they roll the credits of all the people involved with the game. They literally have 500, 600, 700, 800 people involved. for a video game. Talk about milking the cow, eh? There was about and what got me copyright striked, I found out, was because halfway through that, about 15 minutes in, I sat there letting it roll. I said, I wonder how many of these people are really actually useful and aren't, right? And that's what got me copyright striked, because I gave an opinion like that. How many of these people are really needed to make a video game? Yeah. Yep, that's what did it. Now I know. And that's why they put me on a little leash there in the next public test server, where I was just stuck in a queue. There was a whole whackload of us too, that they did that to. So Activision, here's a little bit to you. You know what? I don't care. Play your little games. You know, it all comes back to you. You know. I won't be buying the next game right away either. I don't buy games right away usually, okay? I'm not going to be one of those people that plays the most brand new game all the time. I'm going to wait and I'm going to watch other people play it, and then I'm going to ask that question. How is this on older hardware? Because the majority of computer users don't have that top-end hardware that all you reviewers have. And that's why I actually respect this guy ACG, because he will actually talk to you about that. He'll always mention it. On older hardware, it should run fine, blah, 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 blah. He'll say that. Other reviewers, they don't say that. Look for a reviewer of your games that talks about it, okay? Because most of us don't have the top-end hardware, right? Like, even when I go to the top-end, if I go middle top with my graphics card, okay, I think what I'll do is I'll get a second PC and put that old card in, and then I can run it and tell people what it's like, and maybe even run a video from it, right? Okay? And that's one of the other things that I'll be doing too. But like I said, once I get a new card in December, I'm going to do it before Trump whacks the stupid tariffs on China, which will basically be a giant tax to the rest of us right after Christmas. Okay? So there'll be no more Boxing Day sales, guys. This is the thing. Everybody jacks up prices before Christmas, and then they're gonna whack us, right after Christmas for the Boxing Day sales by jacking up on taxes. This is just a sick trick move by Trump. Okay, I don't care. He needs to get put in his place by saying, hey, that's a really, really mean thing to do. Okay, you should be doing it in January, man. Well into January, middle of January. He's just trying to catch some big tax money because of the recession right now that's coming. Okay? Anyway, more news will be coming, I'm sure. Later, guys.